Welcome everyone to another developer update. I am Jeff from the Overwatch team. Today we're going to try to cover some popular topics in the community, stuff that you guys talk about and express that you want to hear more from us, the development team, about. So I'd like to touch on some of those things. So I'd like to start by addressing some concerns about Baptiste. Overall, we think his abilities seemed really well received, but I've been, reading a lot of your guys' comments and listening to a lot of feedback, and many of you have said Baptiste looks kind of visually bland. Now, I know that I usually wouldn't give even a slight toss about what you guys have to say, but I went away and really thought about Baptiste, and it turns out I actually agree with you guys this time. In fact, we looked at the data and statistics very closely, and we worked out that on the things most likely to send you to sleep tier list. His visual design sits somewhere in between watching Overwatch esports and on his secondary ability. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get, excited about Baptiste. Rest assured, some of the smartest, best people at Blizzard are working on Baptiste behind the scenes and will be taking this character in some exciting new directions. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'll give you a small hint and a teaser of what's to come. A lot of you have been asking which way does Baptiste swing? Is Baptiste using the exo boots to get a top-down view of Widowmaker's cleavage, or is he using them to leap over and behind Soldier 76 to get a tactical sneak preview of Jack Morrison's tight ass? These are the questions that really keep me up at night and are by far the most important things for you to know about his background and his backstory. So we'll be addressing those very soon. Now, beyond that, I hope everyone had a lot of fun chasing the truth in this year's archive event, Storm Rising. Storm Rising had a ton of cool new content, such as there was some incredibly strong wind, and the heavy assault telegraphs his attack more. And who could forget Tracy on a motorcycle or whatever. I'm going to level with you guys for a second. I know the storyline of Overwatch hasn't, really moved forward in any sort of meaningful way for over 3 years. And some of you might have been hoping this event would change that. But, when it comes to story development, it's just a little bit complicated. So to give some examples of the sort of problems we see going on behind the scenes that aren't going to be as evident to you. So we were planning the content for Storm Rising when suddenly Michael Chu charges into the room and sort of grabbed onto me with that claw hook hand that he has and said, "Jeff, the time has come. I'm going to give the players some much needed Omnic lore." And I was really quite stunned. I said, wow, that sounds fantastic. Zenyatta mains are going to be really blown away. But he just looked back at me with those eyes that don't care who's alive and who's dead and handed me a brand new story about some literally who Omnic villain, which was a bit of a surprise, to be honest. But before I could protest, he was charging back towards the door. He's moving very fast, and he also can't be damaged at all. So, there was really nothing I could have done. Ultimately, we ended up just releasing a much shorter version of last year's archive event with the new Omnic villain in the outro to keep Michael happy, and then just called it a day. Unfortunately, this meant I had to release the workshop and the replay system as, damage control. which is actually kind of frustrating, as I was saving those features for when we announced the Overwatch mobile game at BlizzCon this year, but we'll talk more about that a little bit later. Now, I wanted to address one more topic very quickly. We are going to make significant improvements to how the Overwatch team communicates with you guys in terms of these developer updates. So some of you might have noticed that in every single developer update since day one, you can only ever see the top half of me. And the reason for this is that I really didn't want you guys to make fun of my incredibly thin skeleton legs. It's something that I've been kind of struggling with. But I'm very pleased to announce that after running into work every day and also doing a lot of cycling, I now have an absolutely dynamite set of thighs. You know, really powerful. And I have to warn you up front, they're locked and loaded and ready to break the internet. So you should expect a lot more revealing camera angles in these developer updates in the future. That's everything I have for today's developer update. Thank you so much for playing the game, and thanks for hearing me out today. And lastly, in closing, please make sure to log into the game on June 1st. Everybody pick Batiste and use the immortality field at the same time. If enough of us come together, maybe we can, keep Overwatch alive a little bit longer and stop the game from going free to play later this year.